Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Bhagavate Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidyacharyaya Brahma Vidyacharyaya Nachiketa Secha Nachiketa Secha. Kathopanishad today. And again we are blessed to have a very nice verse for today. I don't think we have done this one, at least I hope we haven't. We are looking at 2:1:14.
1:2:14.
1:2:14, yes, 1:2:14. 1:2:14, yes. Okay. 2:1 would be really much too ahead of ourselves. Correct? Yeah. 1:2:14, okay. So before that, just a little recap. Nachiketa goes off to a place of no return normally. And then what does he do there? Has a few adventures, goes to Lord Yama, and then what happens? Asks for this knowledge. He's tempted with all kinds of other worldly material things. And to each of one he says, yes, give me that, correct? No. Okay. We're on the same page. So to each one he says, no thank you, let's not forget for what I came. And then, there is an appreciation fest with Lord Yama keeping on telling him, you're even better than me. I fell into this trap. What trap? Of wondering what it would be like to be a celestial and order a few people around and to kind of increase my elbow room and, have my say over a few people. And then what happened? I got stuck. Where? In the revolving cage of yesterday. So, even there it's a revolving cage. Everywhere it's a revolving cage. You think you're going somewhere, you think you're doing something, nothing is happening. It's all just a feeling of movement without going anywhere. It's a virtual reality, in other words. So now Nachiketa is sick of being praised. Yeah. Because his question is not being answered. Number one. And number two, this Yama is very loquacious, Well, first of all, he doesn't have a lot of visitors. Who will go to see the minion of death? Who in their right minds will say, let's get together at a cafe? Nobody wants to even be around him. Certain people are not very popular, like the person who writes tickets, never popular, will not have a lot of friends. And like that, this Yama is even worse because he writes the ticket for your life, and so nobody wants to be anywhere around him, nobody wants to do anything, have anything to do with him. Gets bored and lonely perhaps, it's just a joke, okay? Yeah. And so as soon as he sets his eyes on Nachiketa, doesn't stop talking, keeps on praising him, keeps on engaging him in conversation, and keeps on saying, you are more evolved than me, you have surpassed your teacher, and you want this knowledge, other people don't want this knowledge. Here, have an extra present. And to all that, Nachiketa says, no, I am not going to be deterred from my question. And what was the question? Some people say yes and some people say no. About what? Whether this life, whether the I continues after death. Asti cha eke. Some people say asti, yes, It is there, and some people say what? Nasti, not there. What is the truth? Because this is your department. You are the one harvesting all these fellows, so you should know where they go and what happens. So if there is nothing to harvest, what is your job? So all this he wants to know. But he feels that Yama is sidetracking him. And Nachiketa is sick of being praised. And he interrupts with this particular request here again, which is much more clear this time. And it's almost like he has an agenda here to compose this question in such a way that it cannot be any longer ignored. So we will see the question very nicely worded. Anyatra dharmat,
Anyatra dharmat,
anyatra adharmat,
Anyatra adharmat,
anyatra asmat,
Anyatra asmat,
krita kritat,
Krita kritat,
anyatra bhutacha,
Anyatra bhutacha,
bhavyatcha,
Bhavyacha,
yattat pashyasi,
Yattat pashyasi,
tadvada.
Tadvada.
In Sanskrit, we always grab hold of the root, the verb. And what is the verb? Vada, tell. It's a command. Tell, now. So what to tell? I want to know something very special. And what is that something special? Anyatra. Anyatra means elsewhere, but actually here it must be taken as anyat, different. Even though it says anyatra, we should not look for the anyatra meaning. It should be taken as anyat, different. Different from what? Dharma. Tell me something that's different from dharma. What is different from dharma? Adharma. Then he says, tell me something that's different from adharma also. Now we have an idea where he is going. Tell me that which transcends dharma. And we are just looking at the translation, we'll see everything in detail. Then tell me that which transcends adharma. That which is beyond this duality which keeps the world going. Tell me that. That is the first part of the question, very long question. Then he says, Anyatra asmat. Asmat means from this. Anyatra, separate from this what? Kritat. Kritat means effect, that which is done. Other than the effect. Tell me something other than the effect, which is what? This Jagat. And then, what is other than the effect? The cause. And then it says akritat, which is the cause. So tell me, other than the cause and the effect, what is that which sustains both the cause and the effect, but is limitless enough to be neither cause nor effect, but manifests as the cause and as the effect without being either. Tell me that. And then tell me anyatra, other than bhutat. Bhutat means what? The past. Bhuta, past. Bhavya, future. And then cha means and there is an extra cha there. Anyatra bhutat cha, bhavyat cha. So the one cha connects it to the other two in the sentence, and the other cha implies the present. So tell me other than what is the past, present and the future. Yat tat pashyasi, that which you see. See means which you know. Yat janasi, that which you know, you please tell me. Now here there is no doubt at all what he is asking for. He is asking for that which is beyond categories, beyond duality, beyond the categories of yes, no, present, future, categories of time, categories of space, categories of cause and effect, categories of right and wrong, categories of appropriate and inappropriate. These are all the dualities that one, with the help of which one lives in the world. These dualities oil the creaky machinery of samsara and keep it going. Yeah. These are the dualities that oil the samsaric wheels and keep it going, and it creaks along, because without this duality there can be no life. In fact, this is a very beautiful thing, that in Sanskrit we have the dual, we have the singular and the plural, and the dual is a nod to samsara, really. Because from the one, how does it become many? It has to undergo a differentiation into two. So you can take Maya, it's a nod to Maya. It's also a nod to these basic dualities that oil the wheels of this Jagat, of this samsara, and keep it going. And the duality is not something that is dismissed. It is seen to not be impinging upon me and afflicting upon me. We get to a place where you don't have to avoid it, but you can appreciate it for what it is without coming under the spell of it. That is the job. So now, the first duality he asks is what? Dharma. And what is this dharma? Dharma is a universal matrix of all kinds of normatives, norms that govern the society. It is an expression of God for us. It's not a mandate of God, it's a manifestation of Ishvara. If it's a mandate, then we are in trouble. Why are we in trouble? Because then we get this whole thing about somebody sitting in the sky or somewhere and then giving these rules. Why should I follow, And so this is the whole thing, and it has a Godfather-like quality if it's a mandate. Not God the Father, Godfather, There's not much difference between the two if it's a mandate. But here, wherever there is dharma, there is Bhagavan, if you say. It's a manifestation, it's an expression of that truth which is the whole, which is in the hearts of all which is sensed, And that voice of conscience is really the speaking, is the Bhagavan's voice from within. And that's why dharma doesn't have to be taught. Not samanya dharma. And so this dharma comes in many forms. The one we know is samanya dharma. Samanya means that which is universally applicable. Universal dharma. It is always wrong to cheat. It was always wrong in any penal code in the past, present and future, caveman onwards. It was wrong to steal. It was wrong to defraud. It was wrong to cheat. It was wrong to kill. So this is universal. Why? I don't like other people doing that to me. I don't want anybody to take away my property. I don't want anybody to disrespect me, defraud me, cheat me, steal from me. And I've told you this story many times. Even a thief is upset when he is stolen from. Yeah, I told you that story. This person and his partner, they had a stash of some contraband drug, probably marijuana or something. Nowadays marijuana is nothing because all these laws have come. But this was before those laws came. And he was caught. And when he was caught, he found out that he was caught in some kind of an incriminating situation, either receiving money or something like that. And then the friend who watched him getting caught made off with the rest of the stash. And this man got so upset that he called 911 even as the cop was arresting him to report the stolen thing, So the charges were even more now, because now he was not just charged with dealing but also with possession. So you see, because he was complaining of dispossession. So even the thief is outraged at having something stolen from him which he himself stole to begin with. And so this itself shows how universally the dharma is so deeply felt, even of someone with questionable, ethical sense. These people, these two people didn't have much ethical sense, but still they had enough of an outrage, which shows that this universal dharma is universally there in all hearts. And that is what is universal makes it a law. And that is the law which really is there, which we can sense. So we can sense dharma. And also equally we can sense adharma, correct? Whenever I am wronged, there is this feeling of anger, sorrow, upset, wanting to take the cudgels and go. And so that feeling of being wronged is there. And then when I wrong other people, there is guilt, there is fear, all these things are there. So this dharma, adharma is a very important dyad within samsara. And for those stuck in samsara means what? Not the people listening to the lecture, okay? And not the people who are committed to this knowledge. The rest of the people who are wondering, the revolving cage people, who are wondering how to get out of this kind of a situation and what to do, how to have some peace and quiet, and how to get rid of all this adharma. Adharma means the opposite of dharma. How to not come under the spell. For them and for the people who are desiring to qualify for this knowledge, a teaching is given. What is the teaching? There are two things, dharma and adharma. And stay away from adharma. Go towards dharma. Catch hold of dharma. And then when you get to the place of becoming totally, incapable of violating dharma, then you have made it in this life. Then you are on to the next thing, which is what? The second portion of the Veda, which focuses on your own self-knowledge and your own, thing in life. And so that is what makes you a qualified person. This is what is the way in samsara to gain what is called adhikaritvam, or the status of being qualified enough to receive, imbibe and enjoy the teachings. This is basically what is needed. So obviously there is this dyad, dharma and adharma. So dharma uplifts, adharma makes you sink. This is what is that, catechism lesson, baby lesson, kindergarten Veda lesson. And what is that lesson? Adharma will sink you, dharma will uplift you to really be a human being. And in fact, without dharma, you are as good as an animal. There is one saying which says, ahara nidra bhayam maithunancha samanyametat pashubhihi naranam dharmo hi etam adhiko visheshah dharmena hinaha pashubhis samana. Pashu means what? Animal. So then what is the difference between human and animal? This is a $1 million question. So ahara means intake of food. Both are the same. The cow grazes, cow grazes on the grass, lion grazes on the cow, and then the human being eats whatever is in sight, and this is what is the seafood, S-E-E. Whatever he or she can get hold of, this fellow eats. And so there is no difference. They also eat to quell their hunger. The human also eats to assuage his or her hunger. So then nidra means what? Sleep. In sleep also there is no difference. Horse may sleep standing up, but the horse also snores. Human being also snores. Both of them need sleep. If they are deprived from sleep, they are cranky. This is also the same. So with ahara, same. Nidra, same. Bhaya means what? Fear. So you go behind an animal and say boo, and what will it do? It will jump. If it's a vegetarian animal. If it's a non-vegetarian animal, it will come after you. That's what it will do, So and the human being is also subject to all kinds of fears. And both are the same. Animals are, puk, afraid. And the human being is also puk, even more afraid. And then finally, maithunam, capacity to reproduce. Animals have the capacity to reproduce. Human beings can also reproduce. In all these 4 respects, both are one and the same. The only distinguishing feature is dharma. Dharmo hi etam, between the two, etam, between the two, adhikaha, special visheshaha, the special distinguishing characteristic is dharma. What dharma? The ability to follow dharma. You tell donkey, let's say you have a pet donkey, and then you call the Swami to bless the donkey. Bad idea. And you tell the donkey, don't kick. Swami is standing behind donkey. Will donkey oblige? No. Because donkey has the freedom to kick, but it has freedom of action, no doubt. But it does not have freedom over action. It doesn't have the freedom to not kick. If it feels like kicking, it's a knee-jerk response, it will kick. It will not say, this is a Swami, I should not kick. Something happened and it's full of music, something.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, so check that. Ayo Rama, take it and check. So, yeah, take it there and check. There it has come back. All right. No, it's sleeping. It has to be set to not sleep. Yesterday also it kept sleeping. Yeah. So then, dharmo hi etam adhiko vishesha.
It's just doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. So the dharma, the ability to follow dharma is the distinguishing feature of who? The animals, correct?
No.
Caught you. So, of the human being, not of the animals. Yeah. Dharmena hinaha, devoid of dharma, the pashubhis samanaha, it is the human being is just like the animal. So you see, this is the distinguishing feature. And so this main feature is highlighted in all religions. Follow dharma. They may not call it dharma, they may call it commandments. They may call it, grow into a compassionate person, do this, do that, turn the other cheek, doesn't matter. But the teaching is, written on the wall. And what is that teaching? Follow that conscience, which is the voice of God within. This is dharma. And then the dharma and adharma are diametrically opposed to one another. But adharma, or the people following adharma, is not in the Hindu tradition. We don't have a devil. Adharma doesn't mean devil. Yeah. Adharma is a devotee gone wrong. That's all. People who follow adharma are people who have worked very hard to quell the voice of dharma within. And why have they done that? Because of raga dvesha. That's all. Yeah. Even Ravana. Ravana was a great devotee. Ravana is the villain of the Ramayana. 10 heads, lot of ego. Can't make up his mind. This is all very metaphorical. And he was a bhakta. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. And he used to compose songs on his veena. He had a veena, a lute, on which he used to compose songs for Lord Shiva. Then what happened? He stood on one leg, in a pose of great austerity, with his hands folded above his head and one leg tucked, in that half lotus position, tucked on his stomach, and one leg he was standing on a rock somewhere. The story goes. And then Lord Shiva said, okay, stop, this looks painful. What do you want? Lord Shiva is easily pleased. They say, this particular way of invoking Bhagavan is easily pleased. And he said, I want to not be killed here and not be killed there and all these things and all these boons. And once he got these boons, what happened? Hubris. Yeah. Hubris is the Greek word for the tragic downfall of the main character due to the ego. Yeah. Pride which comes before this downfall. So this is really what is adharma. It's just a basic human tendency. There is no devil or anything. And so these dharma, adharma are in constant combat. And then you try to have dharma. You say, I'm going to establish dharma. This is what Lord Krishna also said. He says, dharma samsthapanaya. Samsthapana means establishment. Dharma samsthapanaya sambhavami yuge yuge. In every what is that? Cycle of creation. I will come to set right adharma and dharma. How long does it last? Obviously not very long, because otherwise the Lord would not have made the promise that each time dharma is violated, I will come. So even Bhagavan knows that if you try to say, I want to have everything only good, I want everybody to be law abiding, I want everybody to be kind, I want everybody to be wonderful, I want everybody to be compassionate, I want everybody to be patient, I want everybody to have Shraddha. And why not teach Vedanta to everybody? As soon as you think that, what happens? Nothing happens, that's all. Because this dharma and adharma are these opposing tendencies. They are constantly in war with one another. You establish dharma in one part of the universe, then what happens? Something else happens somewhere else. Now that's why Obama is always busy. Something or the other you have to keep doing. And you do this here and somebody else raises their head over there. And then you try to quell something there, something else happens. So this is what, if one is looking for permanence, dharma is non-permanent, correct? Why? Because it's often overtaken by adharma. And adharma also thankfully is non-permanent because it is overtaken by dharma. So dharma and adharma are giving each other a polarity massage, a friction which keeps this samsara vehicle on the road, the chariot of samsara on the road, really. At the most you can steer the chariot more towards the proper roads, but you can't do anything more than that. And so therefore what? So therefore there must be something, some force, some power that upholds both dharma and adharma, that has unleashed this possibility for dharma to be violated, that has unleashed this inherent possibility of sensing and following dharma also. What is that is in charge of both dharma and adharma? Because I want something out of this duality. Because as long as one is stuck in the duality, one is in that revolving cage. Because that revolving cage is buying into this duality, into this dyad. Dyads are always it's like there are no other options. What will you have? Dharma or adharma? If you say dharma, that means what? You are also ordering adharma because it comes along with it. And so, how does one get out of this rut? This is a rut in a certain sense. It's like I said, it's not a rut if one is looking and one is in the beginning of one's spiritual quest. But where Nachiketa is, it is definitely a rut. Because he has already imbibed dharma. If he was not a dharmic person, he would not have kept his father's word and gone to the lap of Lord Yama. He wouldn't have gone to the abode of Lord Yama. He would have said, okay, you didn't mean it, all right, we'll pretend nothing happened. I'll stay here and we'll just keep quiet about it, And if we can't sleep at night, we will take some sleeping pill, we'll take some kava drops and then be done with it, He doesn't say that. So obviously, this teaching is not for someone who has a shaky handhold over dharma and who is not able to follow dharma. This is for someone who has accomplished dharma. And interestingly, the accomplishment of dharma becomes a very important quest. In fact, it is seen as the first thing to be accomplished. 4 purusharthas are there. Purushartha means the goals, human goals. The Hindu Dharma talks about 4 goals. And what are those goals? Dharma, first one. Then Artha, security. Kama, some kind of aesthetic satisfaction you derive. And then finally, moksha. So without dharma, obviously there is no moksha, not even in the picture. And what we are being told here is, without dharma, there should also be no artha and kama pursuits. Because any pleasure and security pursued at the cost of dharma makes one an adharmic person. A person who is not a very honest person. A person who is cutting the corners and justifying the means for the sake of the ends. You cannot do that. The ends cannot justify the means. And so the means, we cannot give up the means. And so therefore what? Dharma becomes the first thing for one to accomplish. Accomplishing this, one becomes qualified for moksha. Accomplishing this alone, all other, pursuits have to be accomplished. I have to grow to be a dharmic person to be able to pursue artha and kama as well, not just moksha. So therefore dharma is very importantly highlighted for everybody. But for the person who has accomplished dharma, for the person who is incapable of flouting dharma, who is incapable of cutting corners just because it is convenient, who is painfully honest with themselves and with others, who is able to say, I am ready to forego anything, I don't want it if I cannot have it in the proper way. That is the person who Nachiketa embodies. And so for such a person, dharma doesn't have much to give, because he has already gained whatever can be gained by following dharma. A peace of mind perhaps, a relative freedom from conflict, what else is gained? A sense of well-being and accomplishment. But this also is temporary, correct? So what he is looking for is something outside of this dyad. What is it that's upholding this? What is it that's unleashing this? What is this that is beyond these two things, which are these primal forces in this cosmic sociology of this human life? So that is the first dyad he addresses. And then he looks further. This is also very beautiful. The second duality is also a basic duality. And what is the duality? Cause and effect. Effect is whatever is manifest, whatever is seen, and what is the cause? Unseen. Because you don't see the cause. The cause locally not available. This is again for the person who doesn't know that the effect is non-separate from the cause. Otherwise there are two things: krita, effect, akrita, cause. So the cause effect is also a duality. Correct? So the cause gives rise to the effect, and the effect cannot exist without the cause. And so therefore the cause and the effect are linked in a very codependent relationship, at least if you look at it on the surface level. Now, if I just focus on the effect, the jagat, then the cause, where is the cause? And if I focus on the cause, then the effect is, how do I explain the effect? And so then he says, I want something, that I want to know that which manifests as the cause and which also manifests as the effect, without being either cause or effect. Very beautiful. Without being neither cause nor effect. It manifests as the cause and manifests as the effect. So that means what? Causality is mithya, right? And the effect, the status of being effect is also mithya. Mithya means a dependent reality, dependent on that reality which I don't know. Please tell me what that is. What is that reality that gives rise to the cause and effect, while being completely neither cause nor effect? What is that? That's the second question. So then, the third part of the question is in terms of time. Yeah. And this is a nod to Lord Yama, who is the Lord of time, really. Whose time? The Jiva's time. When Lord Yama shows up, Jiva's time is up, Yeah. Antakaha means the one who puts an end to the whole concept of time. This is what is Lord Yama, the one who swallows one who folds up time for this person. You see, this is what is very interesting, because the person could have achieved so many things and got some prizes and got some awards, got married 5 times and had 15 grandchildren and all this. And then what? On the epitaph, is that what it's called? Epitaph? Yeah, the stone. You just have the date of birth and the date of the passing with a dash. Everything is a dash. Yeah. That's all it is. The dash of Lord Yama. That's all. Lord Yama comes and folds up the whole life of this jiva. Even easier than folding up a trifold brochure, you know. Why trifold? Past, present and future. So, with the ease of folding up a brochure which has 3 sides, Lord Yama has just swallowed up this jiva's whole biography is gone. Very scary. But at the same time, he says, okay, you know, this whole thing that we call bhuta, the past. Where is this past? Why are you asking? The past is called past because it has passed, you know. It's not here. But if it's not here, then why is it bothering me now? Yeah. Why? You agree it's not here? Yes, I agree it's not here. Then why did some decisions that I made, why are the decisions that I made 20 years ago bothering me now? Why are the actions that I did 5 years ago bothering me now? Why is there a sense of regret now? Because if the past has really passed, then why am I regretting it now? This is a question. And what is this future? Everybody can very sagaciously say, the future is not yet here. Right? When future is not yet here, then why are you worried? How will I die? How will I be a burden to somebody? And this is my favorite. You know, I don't want to live for too long. People say this. And in India, people say this a lot. And if you're 41 years old, people say one leg is dangling in the grave. This is how everyone talks. Yeah, one leg is dangling in the grave. Other leg is going to soon follow. Why do I need this now? Why do I need these problems now? This is the attitude. And in this country, it's the opposite. In this country, it's like how to live forever. How to make the corpse look as though it isn't dead. This is really what people do through all these embalming and other techniques. And while it's alive, how to keep the body in tip-top condition, looking young, you know. There is a potion and a lotion for every notion connected with the body. You know, all these creams and, you know, reams of stuff, all kinds of things. You know, you keep putting and you keep trying to, you know, get rid of all kinds of things. Things that cannot be gotten rid of. And so, therefore, this whole time is the greatest, you know, oppressor, really. Time comes and, you know, and even I think in the Western imagination, death has a sickle, right? It comes with a sickle. Yeah. It reaps the soul, so to speak. The soul reaper, pun intended. And so therefore, I don't want this past and future and present. This is an oppressive bars. These are 3 oppressive bars of the cage of samsara. His notion of the past and the future is very oppressive. Yeah. Not so much the present. Nobody really discusses the present. The present is lost. In fact, the present is the biggest present. But nobody is looking at the present. What is happening now? I'm worried about what to do tomorrow. What is happening now? I'm thinking of what happened yesterday. Nobody is in the present. And so the past and the future, again like dharma and adharma, like cause and effect, become a certain kind of a polarity-based polar dyad that keeps in place the myth of time The myth of time, the reign of time, the oppressive reign of time is kept in place through this myth of past and future. And he says, I'm not buying into this. Also, it helped that he went out of the time-space matrix to a celestial realm. I'm sure that had something to do with it. He was able to see that. But you don't have to go to Lord Yama's abode to question time. You just have to get out of the rut of the everyday life, perhaps a weekend away or something. Then you say, okay, how come I can be so relaxed now? What do I keep running after? Why do I keep running like this? What is wrong with me? Already some kind of a space is created. Correct? So, but still, before long, one gets hooked into this myth of time. That something is passing by and I'm not catching this and I'm not going places. I'm not doing things. I'm missing opportunities. This one I love. Opportunities are missing me by. They are waving also as they go by. They are waving bye-bye. And I'm sitting here, I'm not seizing the opportunities when they knock. Sometimes difficult to hear because they knock only once. What is that? They say, no, opportunity knocks once. Yeah. And so, this is what, it happened again. Okay, it's come back. Please change this.
I will do so.
And then this is what the whole thing is, that this time has to be seized and this time is running away and this time I'm having a warfare greater than the Mahabharata war with time. An inner sense of tick, 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 Udana Vayu tick, 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 we talked about that, and the lifespan tick, 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 inner sense of urgency tick, 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 the virtual reality tick, 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 the clock tick, 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 the whole thing is tick, 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 tick. Yes. And the problem is, we configure time in the mind in a linear fashion. Yeah. That there is a beginning and then there is an end. This is another myth. Where is this beginning, When I was born, you can't say that that's the beginning. Because then the mother was born before, correct? And then the father was born and the grandfather and the grandmother and the foremother and the forefather, everything was, So where is the beginning? They have that slice of this redwood tree polished, in some of these redwood parks. I love this. And then there's one little red flag with a pin. Jesus was born. I mean, the tree is older, the 4,000 years, 5,000-year-old tree. And then they will say that this is the Waterloo and Napoleon, everything. They will have these, the rings are marked. But even that tree had a beginning. The tree which is marking, that cross section of the tree which is marking time also had a beginning. And so what is the beginning of time? This is the greatest myth. Now what is the end of time? The answer to both is timelessness. Time is as though born. It's an as though entity, a myth, a mithya dependent on timelessness, and that timelessness is limitlessness, and that limitlessness is I alone, and out of which this entity called time is born. And we have ironed out time to make it a linear entity. And there is a beginning and there is an end. And in the Western religions, there is this whole, what happened? What is that thing called? It starts with an A. It was supposed to happen in December. Apo something. Apocalypse. Yeah. Yeah, even though the prefix apa in Sanskrit is not good. Apavada means insult. Vada, discussion, talk. Apavada means bad talk. Yeah, see, so yeah, apocalypse. Yeah, so it's not good. And so apocalypse means everything is going to end. And then there is nothing more that's going to happen, and this is it, and this is the one chance. This is scarcity mentality. The scarcity mentality feeds samsara within. Yeah, if you want to just be an expert in samsara, buy into the scarcity mentality and say everything is passing me by, this is the one shot, one chance. That's why I'm very comfortable with the concept of reincarnation, because in India nobody is worried. If somebody says I missed out on having children, they'll say don't worry, there's a next life. Next life you'll have plenty of children. The elders will say I will pray that you have plenty of children in your life. Oh, I couldn't get married this life. Don't worry, next time you will have lots of suitors and very suitable suitors waiting for you. Oh, but this time I didn't get to do this. Never mind, there is a next life. There's a next life for everything. Which is something, it feels like this whole time concept relaxes. That's why it is very interesting to have that. So that I don't buy into this whole one shot thing. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it, and this is the only chance I got. And then feel very disappointed all the time. And so time is the biggest myth. And this little fellow, our protagonist, who is that? Nachi. Nachi knows this. Nachi knows this. Little Nachiketa knows this. And he says, I'm not buying into this either. Tell me something that is beyond time. Tell me something that is beyond the so-called good and bad. Tell me something that's beyond this cause and effect. And I know you know this. And you need to tell me what that thing is. Yat pashyasi tad vada. Tell me this now. So Lord Yama, loquacious as he was, and heaping praises on our Nachiketa, is corralled in by this very intelligent question. The question itself is so intelligent. Then we are thinking what the answer will be. Let us see. The question is itself so wonderful. What is the answer? Sarve Vedaha Yat Padam Amananti Tapamsi Sarpani Chayad Vadanti Yadichantaha Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrahena Bravimi Om Ityetat Yeah. So he says, Sarve Vedaha. So Lord Yama is talking now. Nachiketa has stopped talking. And Lord Yama says, all the Vedas, Yat Padam, that word which all the Vedas eulogize. Amananti means they talk about. All the Vedas have meaning only in one word. In one monosyllabic word. All the Vedas have their purport, their tatparya, their commitment to reveal the meaning of one word. If you want to collapse all the Vedas, they get collapsed in this one word. If you want to carry a Vedic capsule, you can, like they have these time capsules and everything is in a capsule form. If you want a Vedic capsule, it comes in a one word Vedic capsule. All the Vedas whose purport is collapsed into one word, whose meaning, whose purpose is to reveal the meaning of this one word. And then, to understand the purport of this one word are all the austerities performed in all the universes. People standing on one leg, people giving up this and that, people going to Gurukulam, sleeping on lumpy beds, and people joining zenitentiaries, and so, and doing penance of various kinds, You don't think ashrams are, going to give you some 5-star quality, everything. On purpose, certain things will not be upgraded. You get what comes, you take, because your purpose is to go beyond this I like, I don't like, and I have to have this comfortable seat, and I have to have this comfortable this, and I have to do this way. No. Everything is by lottery, including dinner. No, I'm kidding. Julie tells, like they all went to Rishikesh. Now they are in the north by the Ganga. They are studying for 1 month. Unless there be a fight, who is going to sit close to Pujya Swamiji and who is going to sit far away, and how to decide that? Lottery. Yeah. Who is going to get which room? Lottery. Yeah, you just take a number. That's it. And why? To understand the meaning of this one word. People go through these hardships. People fast. People don't talk. People keep silence. People stand on one leg. People do all kinds of, sacrifices, trials, tribulations, penances. To understand this one word alone. Desiring which, yad ichchantah, brahmacharyam charanti. Brahmacharya is what Julie is doing. It's an intense study for, a period of time. Being an inmate. Yeah, there is a, inmate means you don't go out. Yeah. You stay there. You stay in the Gurukulam and you study. It's a wonderful thing. It's a very different thing. Very different. Everybody should have this experience. It's a great blessing. Antevasi it is called. It is to be studying with the teacher in a very intense way, where all the external distractions are all just gone. They are just disbanded. It's just all there is right here, right now, and it's wonderful. And then you suddenly come up with the, very interesting conclusion, how little you can live with, how little you need, how little you want. It's because when the focus is really on what matters, all this doesn't matter. So yadichhantaha brahmacharyam charanti, desiring which they take to this life of, penance and study. Tatte padam, that word, that one word, sangrahena, I will tell you that in short, briefly. Who says this?
Yeah.
Lord Yama says this. Lord Yama says, I'll say this briefly. So many people say, I'll say very briefly. People, invite me for talks and then they are introducing me. They will say, I don't want to keep you away from Swamini ji. I know you have come to hear her, and so I'm going to be very brief in my introduction. But then I can't resist telling you a few stories from my life, and I can't resist how I studied the Gita, and I can't resist this, and they will go on and on. Each time everybody thinks they are stopping, they are not stopping, they keep going on and on. Not Lord Yama. He says, I will be very brief and tell you what that one word is for which the whole world goes mad, and to gain which everybody is doing everything to gain the meaning of this word. What is that word? I'll tell you very briefly. Om. This is the word. And he is true to his word. He says Om and he stops. Om iti etat. This is the word. The word is nothing but Om. All the Vedas sing the praises of Om. To understand this Om are all the tapas in the world. Tapas means not Spanish snacks, okay? Yeah. What is tapas? Austerities, religious disciplines, spiritual disciplines. And then tapamsi, tapas, tapasi, tapamsi. Like Brahma, Brahmani, Brahmani, plural. And then desiring which they also follow a life of, staying close to the teacher and dedicating their life to this study. I will tell you the purport of this very briefly, and the meaning of this is what? Om. And then what is this Om? That is described in the next verse. Why should I know this Om? Etadhyevaksharam Brahma.
Etadhyevaksharam Brahma.
Etadhyevaksharam Param.
Etadhyevaksharam param.
Etadhyevaksharam jnatva.
Etadhyevaksharam jnatva.
Yo yadichhasi.
Yo yadichati
tasya tat.
tasya tat.
Yeah, so this is the ultimate param. This is another word for Brahman. Om is a word for Brahman. Om is a synonym of Brahman. And if you know Om, what do you know? Everything. You know Brahman, which is everything. And this is the ultimate. And knowing this Aksharam, knowing this imperishable Om, which is Brahman, then you get everything that you desire. Your whole life is what? Is Sarthaka. Sarthaka means it is with meaning. Yeah, whole life is purposeful because you know the meaning of the word Om. If I don't know what will happen, then you don't know anything, that's all. So this is what has to be known, and then what this Om is, etc. is a bada discussion is there, long discussion, big discussion. We will take that up next week. Om Purnamadaः Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi Om. Questions? No?
So it's just that easy then.
Just that easy. One word. One monosyllabic word.